அவர்கள் உங்களுக்கான நேரம் 14 நிமிடங்கள்.
I thank you, Honorable Presiding Member. Now you can take the comments I make under these two ministries, the Ministry of Defence and the Ministry of Public Security, in two possible ways, Honorable Presiding Member. You can take it in a constructive way, where we list out certain issues that are real issues. Those are issues that are faced by a certain section of this country. Those are issues that if you do not address, then there is going to be an issue with regards to the legitimacy of this country with regards to that section of the country. If you take the Tamil people I represent, we raise certain issues expecting the governments of the day to take note of those issues and rectify those, because they go to the very core of the legitimacy of this country as far as the Tamil people are concerned. So you can take it in that way, in a way where we are trying to be constructive. It's an emotional matter, naturally, but if you do away with all those emotions and take it in a positive, constructive way, or you can go down the path of complete denial. Complete denial, complete refusal, and put the blame on the Tamils. Make it out that the Tamils are against the state. Make it out that the Tamils want in some way for Sri Lanka to lose, to fail. You can take it in either of those two ways. But I am going to say what I believe has to be said, Honorable Presiding Member. Now, if you take the Ministry of Defence, as far as the Tamil people are concerned, if I am to be honest, it is the most hated ministry. Not only under this government, but under previous governments as well. It is the single most hated ministry under the state structure. Why is it? Because that singular ministry has been the result of all the suffering, that the Tamil people face. Not only during the war, but even after the war, even 16 years after the war. So what are you going to do about it? Now, the Honorable Deputy Minister of Defence, in his opening remarks, he referred to certain comments that I had made previously with regards to the military's involvement in spreading drugs, in the Northeast. I stand by what I said. It is not just me. If the Honorable Deputy Defence Minister comes to Jaffna and attends the District Coordinating Committee meetings in Jaffna, he will get to know himself. The military officials are there. The Jaffna command is there when these are spoken. Starting from governors who are appointed by the presidents, everyone will agree that the police and the military work hand in hand. When the complaints of propagating drugs come, all those who are found out to be peddlers of drugs, when they are chased by the people, they go into military camps. They hide in military camps. And when the people then go and try to make complaints to the police refuse to accept complaints. We have made complaints thereafter to the Human Rights Commission that the police are refusing to accept complaints. That is one. That's a reality. Now, you can deny it if you want to. But if you deny it to us, what that means is that you only come across as being part and parcel of the past. You're no different. That is the reality. If you want to be credible, then stop denying it and deal with it. And you will have our cooperation, because it is our people who are affected by it. So you will have our fullest cooperation if you go down that path. But if you try to do what you did this morning by simply denying it, then you are only going to add to the suspicion that the people already have against the Ministry of Defense and the Ministry of Public Security and the police. Now, just a simple logical issue. The Honourable Deputy Minister of Defence, and I think there was another JVP member who was also a member of the military, retired, I guess, said, you know, what a great service that the military, the Navy, and the Air Force is doing in the Northeast. Even though I think the comment was made because I had made reference to the ratio of the presence of the military establishment in the Northeast. In Jaffna it is 1:14. In Banni it is 1:2, right? So with such an immense presence, to justify that, the government benches got up and said what a great service that the military, the army, the navy and the air force are doing. Now talk about drugs. Let's just simply take the drug issue. The navy is everywhere, right along the coast of the Northeast. Every kilometer you have a checkpoint of the navy. I challenge you to go to the Northeast coast. Every kilometer, if not maximum 2 kilometers, you will have a checkpoint of the navy. Or some camp. They're all occupying private land. Illegally occupying private land, but they're there. They're there. Never have they been present in this way, even during the war. Because the LTT was in control of large areas, right? It is only after the war that the Navy, the Army, and the Air Force have such a massive presence. But it is only after the war that drugs is such a menace in the Northeast. How do you explain that? How do you explain that? It is only after the war. Actually, during the war, when the LTT had a presence, there was no drug issue in the Northeast. Not even in government-controlled areas. Because the LTT had a presence even in government-controlled areas, and those drug traffickers are frightened. So even though the counterinsurgency strategy of the governments of the day was to propagate drugs, they couldn't find people to do it. How is it then that today, after the war, 16 years after, the drugs issue in the Northeast has reached unimaginable heights? How is it? Now, if you try to deny this, honourable ministers, you only add to the suspicion that we already have. So this is the reality, you can't deny it. And this, I'm talking about the presence of 1:14, 1:2 is the official figures. We all know what a massive intelligence presence you all have. So to try and deny that the military has no involvement in this curse of drugs is an absolute lie. It's an absolute lie, and it will never be accepted. It will never be accepted. You can deny it as much as you want. Now, the other issue for accountability to seriously happen in this country, if you want the Tamil people to accept that Sri Lanka doesn't mean Sinhala Buddhists only, doesn't mean that it is only for the Sinhalese and their intentions of what Sri Lanka is, then you must accept that there were very, very serious crimes that took place during the war. As far as I'm concerned, it was genocide. It was genocide. I'm making that allegation, it is genocide. Now what are you going to do about it? What are you going to do about it? The fact of the matter is, when you have such a massive presence, and when these crimes have taken place, those crimes are not just me, I'm not the one who's talking about it, the whole world is talking about it. The whole world is talking about it, right? Do you want every member of the military, all the three forces, to be suspect of those crimes? Don't you want to clear your names if you are actually not involved in it? Isn't it your own interest and in the interest of this country to clear your names? And how are you going to clear it? I know that all of them are not like that because all the evidence of the genocide, of the crimes against humanity and the war crimes that came out through the military. Because there are people of conscience who couldn't bear the sort of way in which the military behaved. They leaked it out. They took recordings. That is how the evidence went out. That is how today the Sri Lankan military and the Navy has been accused of such heinous crimes. Because they were right-thinking people. They were right-thinking people who said, no, this is not the way a decent military or a decent establishment must behave. But I can't see the difference between that person who thought correctly and those violators. And that is not just me, that is the entire world. General Fonseca, when he was a member of this house in the previous parliament, on numerous occasions, whenever the budget under Ministry of Defence was discussed, he would stand up and he would say that there is over 50 very senior officers at the highest of the ranks who have travel bans on them. They are unable to go abroad because they are on some list. Not only them, their families are also on lists. So don't you want to clear your names? Is this the legacy you want to keep? And if that is to be done, the military must stop opposing a genuine international inquiry, because that's the only way, that is the only real, genuine way that this curse of the wars past can be put to rest. Where the guilty are found guilty and the people know who did what, and those who did the worst are punished. And you have punished LTT, no? Summarily you have destroyed them. There were no trials. You executed them. You have already given your judgment. Not before a court of law. You decided that they all must die and you killed them. That's what happened. But not only them. In trying to kill them, you killed the people as well. That is why it's a genocide. That is why it's a genocide. So, it's your name now. It's only you. There is nobody else. You are the only accused party. The Sri Lankan state and its military structure is the only accused party today that has not been tried. And you can't try yourselves. So it is the military that must agree and the police that must agree for an international investigation if you are to clear your names. For as long as you don't do that, Honourable Presiding Member, as long as the government doesn't agree to that, they are no different. They are no different from the previous governments who are very clearly complicit in all these crimes. Now the issue is this. Why there is a conflict of interest, why the JVP will worry about this, in dealing with this, in the way in which we say you must deal with it, is because of your own complicity. Because the Mahinda Rajapaksa government could not mobilize the people for a war. All they could do is talk about a racist war. Their rhetoric was racist. So they wanted somebody else. They wanted somebody who can go and make a credible case for war, to mobilize the war. So it was the JVP that did that. It was their former comrade Vimal Veeravansa, Anura Kumara Disanayaka, and many of the other front benchers who went around from military to military camp in mobilizing the military and the South. So you might be feeling guilty. You might be feeling guilty that you mobilized the public and the military to ultimately do the crimes that were done. But if you want to clear your own names, If you want to clear your own names, then that change must start with you. That change must start with you. If you want to genuinely make believe to the Tamil people that you are not part of the past of Sri Lanka, that you are not the JVP of that time, and we will not forgive you for that, but you are not the JVP of that time because this is not a war time and our attitudes are different, then you must deal with those issues that I have raised. And I'm telling you again with responsibility, I appeal to you, do not take the comments that we make from these benches, the Tamil members from the opposite side, with regards to the Ministry of Defence and the Ministry of Public Security, as something that is just simply to find fault with you. We are saying it because if you don't deal with it, these two ministries will singularly be the most important ministries that will constantly call us to question the legitimacy of the Sri Lankan state. Thank you.
Garu Niyojamattuma.
Thank you, Honourable Member of Parliament on the seat. The allegation made by the Honourable Gajendra Ponlamban against the Triforce's involvement in criminal activities in the North and East, categorically, again, I deny the fact and reject it. And I kindly request you to be specific on those incidents or those who are involved there, so then we can take action. And those have been involved that we have identified, there have been taken action against those. And I'm very confident the Triforces, they work responsibly towards the national security perspectives and objectives, and they are very disciplined, dedicated and committed to the national security there, the North and East. And yes, there are certain lands have been still used by the military, and this morning also I tabled how many acres that have been released, that have been used by the military, and those are the lands that have been using now are very important strategically and the security wise, and we are the listed out the lands which have been able to the release in months to come and by next year. Thank you, Honourable Minister.
Garu Anand Vijaypala Emathuman.
අරු මන්ත්‍රීතුමනි ඔබ පොලිසිය සම්බන්ධයෙන් ඉදිරිපත් වූ කාරණා සම්බන්ධයෙන් නිශ්චිතව ඒ පිළිබඳව ඒ පැමිණිල්ලක් ඉදිරිපත් වෙනවා නම් අපිට ඒ පිළිබඳව සොයා බැලීමක් කරන්න පුළුවන් පොලිසියට එරෙහිව ඉදිරිපත් කරපු කාරණා සම්බන්ධයෙන් ජෙනරලි කිව්වාම ඒකට අපිට ඒ පිළිබඳව විමර්ශනයක් කරන්න අපහසුයි. ඔබ නිශ්චිතව ඒ කාරණා ඉදිරිපත් කරනවා නම් ඒ පිළිබඳව අපිට කරුණු ඉදිරිපත් කරන්න පුළුවන්. ඒ සම්බන්ධයෙන් සහ විමර්ශනයක් කරන්න හැකියාව තියෙනවා. දැනට අපිට එහෙම කිසිදු පැමිණිල්ලක් ලැබිලා නැහැ.
கௌரவ உறுப்பினர் அவர்களே, உங்களுக்கு 30 வினாடிகளை மட்டும் தரலாம். விவாதத்தை மேற்கொள்ள வேண்டிய அவசியமில்லை.
Honourable Minister, I don't want to reply to the Deputy Defence Minister. I mean, it's a lost cause. But to tell you just one incident, it involves a former member of this house, Selvaraja Gajendran, was assaulted in Trincomalee. It was, the videos of the assault went viral. In Tambalagamam, the people who assaulted him were the same people who were involved behaving as thugs 2 days ago in Trincomalee. It was the same people. Now these people were caught. They were identified. Yeah, I'm finishing. He asked for specifics. I'm giving him. These people were identified. The police eventually produced them in court. They were arrested. Right? They were arrested. That very same day, the ASP went to the High Court and asked that they all be released on bail. Otherwise, there would be riots. Now, honourable member was assaulted. Honourable member was assaulted. The police arrested him, produced him. They were remanded. It is the very same police ASP who goes to the High Court and says that they must all be released. They must all be released, otherwise there will be riots. And they were released.
கௌரவ
And they
உறுப்பினர்
were
அவர்களே,
released. So, I mean, this is just one example. This is just one example, but this is, I mean, this it is just, I can't list it, honorable
கௌரவ
member.
உறுப்பினர் அவர்களே, விவாதத்தை மேற்கொள்ள வேண்டிய அவசியமில்லை என்று நினைக்கின்றேன். கௌரவ
අරු සභාපතිතුමා මේ ඔබතුමා වෙලාව කළමනාකරණය කරන්නේ නැතුව යන වෙලාවල් ඔබතුමා මේ අදාළ පැත්තෙන් අඩු කරන්න. අපෙන් අඩු කරන්න එපා.
கௌரவ உறுப்பினர் திலகநாதன் அவர்கள், உங்களுக்கான நேரம் 9 நிமிடங்கள்.
ගෞරව සභකි තාංගම්
කමිටි ස්ටේජ් එකේදී ඇමතිවරු පිළිතුරු සැපයීම සාමාන්‍ය පාර්ලිමේන්තු සම්ප්‍රදාය. ඒක ඇමතිවරු දෙදෙනාට තියෙන අයිතියක්. ඒක මන්ත්‍රීවරු වශයෙන් හෝ අනිත් ඇමතිවරුන්ට තියෙන අයිතියක් නෙමෙයි. විශේෂ භාර ඇමතිවරු දෙන්නට අයිතිය තිබෙනවා. නෑ සභාපතිතුමාටත් මම හිතන්නේ එතුමා දැන් නතර කරන්න කියලා කියනවා. නතර කරන්න නැත්නම් ඔබතුමා ඊළඟ පියවරට යන්න ඕනේ.
கௌரவ உறுப்பினர் அவர்களே, உங்களுடைய
ගෞරව සභකි தலைமை தாங்கும்
order please.
උරුපිනර අවர்களே,
order please. ගරු ඉම්රාන් මාරුප් මන්ත්‍රීතුමාට මූලාසනයේ ආරාධනා කර සිටිනවා.
கௌரவ உறுப்பினர் அவர்களே பேசுங்க. 2026 ஆண்டுக்கான வரவு செலவு திட்டத்தின் போதான இன்றைய பாதுகாப்பு அமைச்சினுடைய விவாதத்தில் கலந்து கொள்வதில் நான் மகிழ்ச்சி அடைகின்றேன். இதுவரை நேரமும் இந்த பாதுகாப்பு அமைச்சு மற்றும் பொதுமக்கள் பாதுகாப்பு மற்றும் பாராளுமன்ற விவகார அமைச்சு களுக்கு இடையிலான விவாதத்தின் போது பல்வேறுபட்ட கருத்துக்கள் தெரிவிக்கப்பட்டன. நான் வன்னி பிரதேசத்தை சேர்ந்தவன் என்ற வகையிலே உண்மையிலேயே நினைக்கின்றேன். இங்கே குறிப்பிடப்பட்ட பல்வேறு கருத்துக்கள் இந்த எலும்பில்லா நாக்கினால் சொல்லப்பட்ட பொய்கள் நான் நினைக்கின்றேன். அண்மையிலே தற்போது குறிப்பிட்டிருந்தார், உண்மையிலே மனவேதனை அளிக்கின்றது. வடக்கில் கிழக்கில், அதாவது வடக்கிலே வாழுகின்ற இராணுவத்தினரும் கடற்படையினரும் விமானப்படையினரும் போதைப் பொருட்கடத்தலில் ஈடுபடுகின்றார்கள் என்று உண்மையிலேயே அந்த பிரதேசத்தை சேர்ந்தவன் என்ற வகையிலும் அந்த மக்களுடன் ஒன்றாக வாழுகின்றவன் என்ற வகையிலும் அந்த மக்களுடன் பழகுகின்ற என்ற வகையிலும் அவ்வாறு எந்த விதமான தகவல்களும் எனக்கு கிடைக்கவில்லை. நான் நினைக்கின்றேன் அந்த உறுப்பினர் வன்னிக்கு வந்து நான் நினைக்கின்றேன் பல வருடங்களாக இருக்கலாம். ஆதாரமற்ற பொய்களையும் தெரிவிக்கும் போது அந்த இராணுவத்தினருடைய குடும்பத்தினருக்கும் ஏனைய கடற்படை விமானப்படை போன்றவர்களின் குடும்பத்தினர் உறுப்பினர்களுக்கு எவ்வாறான ஒரு மன உளைச்சல் வரும் என்றதை அவர் நினைத்து கூட பார்க்கவில்லை. அவர் ஒரு ஃபேமஸான ஒரு சட்டத்தரணி. அவர் உண்மையிலேயே நினைத்திருந்தால் வடக்கு மாகாண இளைஞர்களை பாதுகாக்க வேண்டும் என்று நினைத்திருந்தால் அவ்வாறு அவர் தெரிவித்த போதைப்பொருள் கடத்தற்காரர்களை கைது செய்து சட்டத்தின் முன் நிறுத்தியிருக்க முடியும். ஆகவே இந்த உயரிய சபையிலே இவ்வாறாக முப்படையினரையும் குற்றஞ்சாட்ட வேண்டிய தேவை இங்கே இல்லை. உண்மையிலேயே முல்லைத்தீவை பொறுத்த மட்டிலே அவர் குறிப்பிட்டிருந்தார், ஒவ்வொரு கிலோமீட்டருக்கும் ஒரு நேவி பாயிண்ட் இருப்பதாக. முல்லைத்தீவு மாவட்டத்திற்கு 70 கிலோமீட்டர் நீளமான கடற்கரை உள்ளது. அந்த 70 கிலோமீட்டர் நீளமான கடற்கரையிலே 3 கடற்படை தளம்தான் காணப்படுகின்றது. அவர்கள் பல்வேறுபட்ட வழிகளிலே அந்த மீனவர்களுக்கும் உதவி செய்கின்றார்கள். அதாவது சொல்லப்போனால் தடை செய்யப்பட்ட மீன்பிடி முறைகளை கட்டுப்படுத்துவதற்கும் போதைப் பொருள் போன்றவை இலங்கைக்கு கொண்டு வருவதை தடுப்பதற்கும் அவர்கள் உண்மையிலேயே மிகவும் கஷ்டப்பட்டு கடமை புரிகின்றார்கள். அதேபோல இராணுவத்தினர், முல்லைத்தீவு மாவட்டமானது ஒரு பெரிய விசாலமான மாவட்டம். அந்த மாவட்டத்திலே வாழுகின்ற மக்கள் மிகவும் தொலைவு, அதாவது நீண்ட ஒரு பரந்த இடத்திலே வாழுகின்றார்கள். அப்படிப்பட்ட இடத்திலே இந்த இராணுவ முகாம்கள் கடந்த காலத்தில் பெருமளவு அமைக்கப்பட்டிருந்தன. ஆனால் எமது அரசாங்கம் ஆட்சிக்கு வந்ததன் பின்னர் பெருமளவு முகாம்கள், சொல்லப்போனால் ஒட்டுசுட்டான், மன்னாங்கண்டல், முத்தையன்கட்டு, மல்லாவி போன்ற பல்வேறு இடங்களில் உள்ள முகாம்கள் அகற்றப்பட்டு மக்களிடம் கையளிக்கப்பட்டுள்ளது. அதேபோல புதுக்குடியிருப்பு பிரதேசத்தில் உள்ள கடந்த காலத்தில் விடுதலை புலிகளினுடைய மருத்துவமனையாக இயங்கிய பொன்னம்பலம் மருத்துவமனை அதனுடைய உரிமையாளர்களிடம் கையளிக்கப்பட்டுள்ளது. இவ்வாறு பல நிலங்கள் எமது அரசாங்கத்தினால் படிப்படியாக கையளிக்கப்பட்டு வருகின்றது. அதேபோல உண்மையிலேயே கடந்த ஆட்சி காலத்தில் அந்த போதைப் பொருளானது வன்னியில் வாழுகின்ற இளைஞர்கள் பெருமளவு பாவித்து கொண்டிருக்கின்றார்கள். உண்மையிலேயே கடந்த கால அரசாங்கத்தில் தான் இந்த போதைப் பொருட்கள் அறிமுகப்படுத்தப்பட்டுள்ளன. ஆனால் எமது இந்த அரசாங்கத்தின் காலத்திலே அவ்வாறான போதவஸ்து கடத்தல்களை செய்பவர்களை நாங்கள் கைது செய்திருக்கின்றோம். தற்போது நாங்கள் எமது அரசாங்கத்திலே போதைப் பொருள் புனர்வாழ்வு மையம் ஒன்றை ஒட்டி சுட்டானிலே அமைக்க உள்ளோம். காரணம், கடந்த காலத்திலே போதைப் பொருள் பாவித்து பழகியவர்கள் எமது அரசாங்கத்திலே போதைப் பொருள் இல்லாததன் காரணத்தினால அவர்களுடைய உடல்நிலை மிகவும் மோசமாக காணப்படுகின்றது. ஆகவே அவர்களை புனர்வாழ்வு நிலையத்திற்கு அழைத்து அவர்களை புனர்வாழ்வு அளிப்பதற்காக நாங்கள் எமது அரசாங்கத்திலே புனர்வாழ்வு மையம் ஒன்றை அமைக்க உள்ளோம். அதேபோல் வடக்கிலே, அதாவது போலீஸ் திணைக்களத்திலே பல்வேறுபட்ட குறைபாடுகள் காணப்படுகின்றன. அதாவது ஆளணி பற்றாக்குறை. எமது அரசாங்கத்திலே முல்லைத்தீவு மாவட்டம் போன்ற பகுதிகளுக்கு புதிதாக தமிழ் போலீசாரை நியமிப்பதற்கு எமது அரசாங்கம் நடவடிக்கை எடுத்துள்ளது. அதேபோல் புதிதாக, அதாவது வடக்கு கிழக்கைச் சேர்ந்த போலீசாருக்கு வாகனங்களை புதிதாக கொள்வனவு செய்துள்ளது. அதேவேளை இந்திய அரசாங்கத்தினுடைய நிதி உதவியுடன் 130 சிங்கிள் கேப் வாகனங்கள் கொள்வனவு செய்யப்பட்டுள்ளது. ஆகவே
கௌரவ உறுப்பினர் அவர்களே, உங்களுக்கு இன்னும் 2 வினாடிகள் இருக்கின்றன.
நன்றி.
2 நிமிடங்கள்.
வடக்கிலே வாழுகின்ற மக்களுக்கு எமது அரசாங்கம் பல்வேறுபட்ட நன்மைகளை செய்து வருகின்றது. கௌரவ உறுப்பினர் அடைக்கல்நாதன் அவர்கள் தெரிவித்திருந்தார், மினிக் ஃபார்மிலே செத்தல் மிளகாய் காய்ந்து கொண்டிருப்பதாக. உண்மையிலேயே இது செத்தல் மிளகாய் சீசனும் அல்ல, அது ஒரு மழைக்கால சீசன் அங்கே. ஆகவே இங்கே வந்து அவர்கள் பொய்யை தெரிவித்து சென்றிருக்கின்றார் என்பதை நான் மனவருத்தத்துடன் தெரிவித்துக் கொள்கின்றேன். குற்றம் சுமத்துவதை இட்டு உண்மையிலேயே பல்வேறுபட்ட குற்றச்சாட்டுகளை சுமத்துகின்றார்கள். கடந்த காலத்திலே உள்ள பிரச்சனைகளை விட தற்போது மக்கள் மீண்டு தமது இயல்பு வாழ்க்கையை சென்று கொண்டிருக்கின்ற நேரத்திலே அரசாங்கத்தை குற்றம் சுமத்தி இந்த மக்களுடைய உளவியலை பாதிக்கின்ற வகையிலே இவர்கள் கருத்துக்களை தெரிவித்துக் கொண்டிருக்கிறார்கள் என்பதையும் நான் இங்கே தெரிவித்துக் கொள்ள விரும்புகின்றேன். அதேபோல் அங்கே முல்லைத்தீவு மாவட்டத்திலே வாழுகின்ற மக்களுக்கு பல்வேறுபட்ட உதவிகளை அங்கே, அதாவது சொல்லப்போனால் சிவில் பாதுகாப்பு திணைக்களத்தினால் பணிக்கமர்த்தப்பட்டுள்ள அதாவது உத்தியோகத்தர்கள் பாலர் பாடசாலை போன்ற பாடசாலைகளிலே சிறுவர்களுக்கு கல்வி போட்டி கொண்டிருக்கின்றார்கள். உண்மையிலேயே சிறுவர் பாடசாலைகளிலேயே ஆசிரியர்களுக்கு பற்றாக்குறை நிலவுகின்றது. இவ்வாறான சந்தர்ப்பத்திலே அந்த ஆசிரியர்களுக்கு பயிற்சி அளித்து சிவில் பாதுகாப்பு திணைக்களத்தில் இந்த சிறிய அதாவது அந்த பாலர் பாடசாலைக்கு அவர்களை ஆசிரியர்களாக நியமித்து சிறுவர்களுடைய எதிர்காலத்தை கழித்துக் கொண்டு சேவையாற்றுகின்றார்கள் என்பதையும் இந்த தருணத்திலே நான் தெரிவித்துக் கொள்ள விரும்புகின்றேன்.
கௌரவ உறுப்பினர்களே, உங்களுடைய நேரம் முடிவடைந்து விட்டது. நன்றி. ඊළඟට ගරු රංජිත් මතුම බණ්ඩාර මන්ත්‍රීතුමා ඔබතුමාට විනාඩි 23ක කාලයක් තියෙනවා.
නියෝජ්‍ය කාරක සභාපතිතුමනි, මේ රටේ ජනතාවගේ